Imagine being 16 years old, alone, in a crowded airport, with no money, no plan. And the one person you trusted the most just walked away, not for a minute, not to grab coffee, but for good. That's exactly what happened to one Reddit user. And the worst part? It didn't start like a nightmare. It started like a normal trip. Here's the story. At the time, I was 16, still in high school, still figuring life out. I didn't have a job, I didn't have savings, and I definitely didn't have any kind of backup plan. But I did have family, or at least, I thought I did. My uncle had always been that cool adult in my life. Relaxed, easy to talk to, the one who treats you more like a friend than a kid. So when he offered to take me on a trip, I didn't hesitate. It felt like one of those rare moments where life just works out. A break from routine, a little adventure, and honestly, I trusted him completely. You want to know the cruelest part? The trip was actually great. He took me to places I'd never been, bought me food I couldn't pronounce, let me stay up late like I was an adult. I remember one night we sat on a hotel balcony and just talked. About school, about girls, about life. He gave me advice I still remember. "Don't rush to grow up," he said. "Being a kid is the only time you're allowed to be stupid without consequences." We laughed about that. I thought about that conversation on the plane ride home, before I knew there wouldn't be a ride home. I thought, this is what family is supposed to feel like. Funny how memory works. You hold on to the good moments, and then someone hands you a phone with 3 words on it, and suddenly those memories feel like lies. The plan seemed simple. We'd fly out together, spend a few days visiting, and then fly back. Nothing complicated, no red flags. Everything was totally fine. We laughed, we explored, we did normal travel stuff. If anything, it made me trust him even more. There was nothing weird, nothing that made me think something was wrong. Which is why what happened next hit so hard. The day we were supposed to fly back, everything changed. We got to the airport early, like people usually do, dragging luggage, standing in lines, waiting around, just normal airport things. But then, something felt off. My uncle started acting different, subtle at first, more quiet, more distant, checking his phone constantly, looking around like he was waiting for something or someone. I remember asking him, "Hey, everything okay?" He just said, Yeah, I just need to take care of something real quick." Nothing unusual, right? Adults do that all the time, so I didn't question it. We got through security, sat down near our gate. Time was passing, boarding wasn't far away. And that's when he stood up. He grabbed his bag, looked at me, and said something I'll never forget. "I'll be right back." Simple sentence, completely normal. The kind of thing you don't even think twice about. So I nodded. Okay. And watched him walk away. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 20. At first I wasn't worried. Airports are busy, lines are long, things take time. But then boarding started, and he still wasn't back. I checked my phone. No messages, no calls, nothing. I texted him, "Hey, where are you?" No reply. That's when the feeling hit. That slow, creeping realization that something wasn't right. I stood up, looked around, tried to spot him in the crowd, but airports are massive, and people all look the same when you're panicking. Final boarding call, still no uncle, still no response. I tried calling him, straight to voicemail, again, voicemail, again, voicemail. That's when panic really kicked in. Because now I wasn't just waiting. I was realizing something much worse. He wasn't coming back. The gate agent was calling the last passengers. People were boarding. And I had to make a decision. Do I get on the plane without him, or do I stay? But here's the thing. I didn't have my own ticket. Everything was under his name. He had the documents. He had everything. I walked up to the desk, trying to stay calm, explained the situation. My uncle. He stepped away. I can't find him. The look they gave me? It wasn't reassuring. It was confusion mixed with concern. They tried calling his name, no response. They checked the system, and that's when things got worse. He had already checked in, but he never came to the gate. And then it hit me, in a way I still can't fully describe. He left, on purpose. The plane left without me, and just like that, I was alone in an airport at 16, with no money, no way home, and no idea what to do next. I remember just standing there, not moving, not thinking, just frozen. People were walking past me, announcements were playing overhead, life was continuing for everyone else, but for me, everything just stopped. Eventually, reality forced its way in. I needed help, so I went to airport staff, explained everything again, this time more honestly, more desperately. I think he left me here. Saying those words out loud made it real. They asked questions, tried to figure out what was going on, but at the end of the day, there wasn't much they could do. I was a minor, stranded, with no guardian. They contacted airport security, then social services. And that's when it really sank in. This wasn't just a bad situation. This was serious. The social worker who finally came to get me, she tried to be kind. I'll give her that. But there's only so much kindness can do when you're sitting in an airport office at midnight answering questions you don't have answers to. Did you and your uncle argue? No. Did he seem upset about anything? No. Had he ever done anything like this before? No. 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 I kept saying no, and she kept writing it down like my answers meant something. At one point, she looked up and said, "This doesn't make sense." I almost laughed. You think I don't know that? Nothing about that night made sense, and nothing about it ever would. Hours passed, and every minute felt longer than the last. I kept checking my phone, hoping for a message, an explanation, anything, nothing. Finally, I got a text. It was from him. 3 words. Figure it out. That was it. No apology, no explanation, no concern, just figure it out. I don't think I've ever felt that kind of betrayal before, or since, because it wasn't just about being stranded. It was about trust, about thinking someone had your back, and realizing they never did. Eventually, social services stepped in. They contacted my parents, arranged a way to get me home, but it wasn't immediate. I had to stay there, wait, answer questions, explain everything over and over again. Every time I told the story, it felt more unreal, like it was happening to someone else, but it wasn't. It was me, a 16-year-old kid sitting in an airport trying to understand why someone I trusted would just leave. When I finally got home, nothing felt the same. People asked questions. My parents were furious, not at me, at him. And honestly, I was too numb to even be angry, at least at first, because part of me kept asking, why? What did I do? Was there a reason? Did I miss something? But the truth is, sometimes there isn't a good answer. Some people just don't care. When I finally got home, I thought things would go back to normal. They didn't. Friends asked what happened. I told them. And the looks on their faces, that mix of pity and confusion, like they wanted to help but had no idea how. Some people didn't believe me, thought I must have done something. He wouldn't just leave you there? Are you sure you're not forgetting something? As if a 16-year-old kid could do something bad enough to deserve being abandoned in an airport. Adults kept saying, there must be more to the story. But there wasn't. That was the whole point. Sometimes people just leave, and there's no reason you'll ever understand. Looking back now, I try to find the signs, the moments I missed. Did he seem off during the trip? Was there something in his voice? A look he gave me that I didn't catch? I've replayed those days in my head 100 times, trying to find the clue that would have warned me. But there's nothing. That's the scary part. Sometimes betrayal doesn't announce itself, it just happens. One minute you're laughing with someone you trust, the next you're watching them walk away and you don't even know it's the last time. I saw him once. Years later. At a family funeral. He was on the other side of the room, older, grayer, but still him. He looked at me. I looked at him, and for a second, I thought he might walk over. Say something, explain. He didn't. He looked away first, turned around, walked out. That was it. No words, no apology, no nothing. Some people don't have the courage to face what they've done, they just keep walking. Same way they walked away in that airport. And you have to decide, do you let it eat you alive? Or do you accept that some people are cowards and move on? I'm still working on the second one. It's been years now. I'm not that 16-year-old kid anymore. But some things don't go away. I still get anxious in airports, still catch myself looking over my shoulder. Still feel that spike of panic when someone takes too long to come back from the bathroom. Trust doesn't come easy anymore. Not because I think everyone will leave, but because I know now that some people will. And you won't see it coming. That's what he took from me. Not just a trip home, not just a few hours of fear. He took the ability to trust without thinking. We never really got a proper explanation, no apology, no closure. He just disappeared from my life, and maybe that's for the best. Because if someone can leave a 16-year-old alone in an airport with no plan, no help, no way home, then they were never really family to begin with. But even now, I still think about that moment sometimes. Sitting there, watching people board the plane, realizing I wasn't going anywhere. Not because I missed my flight, but because someone I trusted decided I wasn't worth staying for. So here's my question. Not, what would you do? Because you don't know until it happens. Here's my real question. If you were that uncle, and you had one chance to explain yourself, what would you even say? I'm sorry doesn't cover it. I panicked doesn't cover it. There's no excuse for leaving a 16-year-old kid alone in an airport with no money and no way home. So what would you say? Drop it in the comments. Let's hear it. Because I've been waiting years for an answer, and I'm still listening. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want more Reddit stories, and maybe call your family today, just to check. You never know who might walk away. See you in the next one.